Hello there. What is wrong with our society when the elderly no longer feel safe from criminal attacks in their own communities? Now, just to warn you, Mr. Angry wants a word with you at the end of this video. Every now and again another story pops up like this, and you wonder if this country will ever progress culturally. And you also wonder if our current addiction to trusting our social services will ever bear fruit where antisocial behaviour is concerned. And no, social services will never replace good parenting, but maybe the good parenting is the bit that's lacking here. And at the moment it's not a case of the usual overall forward motion with 2 steps forward and 1 step back. No, right now we seem to be stuck in a series of backward steps in 1 or 2 areas around the country, with stories of knife crime at new record highs, as well as increased violence, drug use and general criminality. But don't get me wrong, most areas in the UK are very quiet and pleasant. But what do we do with sink estate type areas where crime is rife and the youth appear to have no future? And the Express is running with just such a story concerning the Orchard Park estate in North Hull and problems with mainly 19 to 25-year-olds, would you believe it? That's people of voting age, and I wonder how many of them have been to uni. And the Express says, residents are afraid to leave their homes on a crime-ridden estate where feral youths abuse pensioners, steal vehicles and commit other violent crimes, it says. And it goes on to say that teenagers who think they run the Orchard Park estate in North Hull are said to be particularly savage in the night time when they've been alleged to take motorcycles, mopeds, quad bikes or even cars. And this has resulted in bus service suspensions, taxi drivers declining fares in the area and local shops losing business. And the local police say that they are monitoring the situation and engaging with the youth. Maybe the residents would appreciate a little more robust engagement than the usual police twerking. And Assistant Chief Constable Darren Wildboar told Hull Live, "But we will not tolerate criminal behaviour, and if we need to, we will take it to the investigation stage and get the courts involved." Sounds to me like we're already past that investigation stage. So you do have to wonder if the police do think they'll ever get back control over that area. And I doubt this situation would ever be allowed to develop outside the gates of Buckingham Palace or Rishi Sunak's well-appointed and heated outdoor pool-equipped mansion. They would never lose control there. And now a little update on that EU Parliament scandal Qatargate. We've now had 3 current MEPs and 1 former MEP arrested, but 2 more of them have been named in police reports, with Politico saying, MEPs Maria Arena and Alessandra Moretti are connected to the investigation being undertaken by Belgian prosecutors, according to the warrant for Italian MEP Andrea Cozzolino, who was arrested last week on charges of corruption, money laundering and participation in a criminal organisation. And now get this. The current EU parliamentary term started in 2019, nearly 4 years ago, and in that time the 705 MEPs have declared just 321 events where a third party has paid for or reimbursed them for travel and or accommodation. But 1/3 of those declarations, 103 of them, came within the 2-month period after the Qatargate scandal broke in December and MEPs were arrested. How coincidental is that? And totally unconnected, of course. Oh, and 67 of those 103 declarations were late declarations. And I wonder how many squeaky backsides there are sat on that plush EU Parliament upholstery. Now, just before I hand over to Mr. Angry, a group of Tory MPs, including the Home Secretary Suella Braverman, are warning the PM Rishi Sunak not to go soft on Brussels by allowing the ECJ to keep control over Northern Ireland. Responding to worries that Rishi Sunak might ditch new laws to give the government power to rid Northern Ireland of ECJ control, the Home Secretary said, "The legislation that the government introduced is one of the biggest tools we have in solving the problem on the Irish Sea." But Keir Starmer wants Rishi to press ahead with effectively breaking up the UK. He's basically said, ignore the concerns of the DUP and unionist community and just sign the deal, and Labour will help defeat the Tory rebels by voting for it. Nice to know that Sunak and Starmer are singing from the same hymn sheet. It makes them both less electable. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's over to Mr. Angry.
This is a message to all the MPs out there who are remaining silent on the devastating effect the arm intrusion has had upon an untold, if not innumerable, amount of people, both here and across the world. And I am so sorry for the creative terminology used in this video, but to remain on this platform still demands such ludicrous measures. However, you know exactly what I speak of. So, to whichever MP is watching this, I have this to say. It's one thing to have been conned into believing in this medical procedure that has caused so many people to leave us suddenly, but it's another thing to willfully ignore the facts. Yes, the facts that are now emerging about its safety and how well it has performed in protecting us from illness. It was sold as something by the government that would protect us from catching and spreading the illness and protect Granny if you took it, but that was an out-and-out lie, seeing as it was never tested to see if it would prevent illness. Or I should say prevent spreading illness. This is not some ludicrous, unfounded conspiracy theory. This was fully admitted in front of the European Parliament by a representative of a certain drug company whose first letter begins with the letter P. So tell me, why are you not standing by Andrew Bridgen? Yes, that's right, MP Andrew Bridgen, the only man who's speaking up about these things in Parliament. Why are you not standing up for your constituents who have been injured by it? I don't care which side of the House of Criminals you sit on. You have a duty to protect and represent those that elected you. And you must ask the questions that may be uncomfortable and may lead to your political career ending. But I can assure you of one thing. If you don't stand up now and do the right thing, history will judge you very harshly. And it might not be too long until this judgment begins. Don't think that remaining silent and burying your head in the sand will work and protect you from what's coming. People have lost loved ones and people have suffered life-changing injuries by something that you are supporting with your act of silence. And those people will be demanding more than being sacked. What form of punishment would you demand of those that pushed something that killed your husband, your wife, and your children, something that was sold as safe and effective, yet was neither? What punishment would you demand of those that then willfully did nothing to right the wrongs, to protect their own careers? And I implore you to do the right thing and stand up for what is just and right. And if you can't do it out of decency, then do it out of self-interest, which is what you're all good at. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes in another 12 months' time. However, the people will remember and celebrate those who stood up in Parliament and supported MPs like Andrew Bridgen. You never know, you might actually end up being re-elected in the next election. In years to come, will you be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I did the right thing, I didn't ignore the facts, I didn't stand by and pretend nothing was happening. No, I demanded explanations for the single most important issue of my entire generation, and I would not rest until those that had lied to Parliament and the British people about it were brought to justice. Be that person who stood up. Thank you.